Let's get started here this evening for the June 22nd, 2023 regular board meeting. I apologize for starting a couple minutes late. We recessed our executive session and we'll reconvene that after the Good for the Grove this evening. So just a reminder to the board members, we got to go back to where we were.
Yes, and Mr. Russell is sick today.
Yes, and thank you for that reminder. Mr. Russell is not with us today. He's not a little under the weather, not feeling well, so speedy recovery to Mr. Russell. All right, first order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's on me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next order of business is to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the agenda.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Daniels and a second by Mr. Robinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Need a pen?
Yeah, I don't have one.
I get another.
Okay. Sorry. All right, next up is public comments. Mr. Poor wanted to speak about action item 7.1. Would you come to the podium, sir? And
Can I hold my comments till after the presentation?
Is that there is a hearing, yeah.
oh, there is a hearing. Yeah. Okay. Next up is reports, employee retention final report.
Thank you. Dr. Nelson?
Well, good evening. This evening I'm honored to bring to you our final report for the 20-23 Center Grove Teacher Recruitment, Retention, and Recognition Task Force. I'm honored to share the conversations and some problem solving the task force collaborated with over the course of the school year. So if you remember from our mid-year report, over the summer of 2022, employee exit surveys were sent to all certified staff members who resigned during the 21-22 school year. Based on the exit interview or survey results, areas of need to retain teachers were strengthening collegial working conditions, developing teacher leadership roles, enhancing recruitment efforts and opportunities, teacher mentoring, and restructuring pay and benefits. Based on this data, a task force was created that included 27 certified teachers and 2 district administrators. This group had 6 meetings over the course of the school year to discuss retention concerns, and then the group, as we started discussing, quickly added recruitment and recognition to our discussions. During this time, we also had parallel work taking place with our collective bargaining and benefits committee. Pay and benefits was ranked number 5 on the list of areas we would like to problem solve, and these discussions were held exclusively to the collective bargaining teams. The goal of the task force was to develop present and future action items to recruit, hire, and retain teachers, administrators, and staff within Center Grove schools. We did this by examining, reviewing, and outlining strategies for each area. Our pipelines for improvement included recruitment of homegrown candidates, marketing CG and student teachers, retention of our amazing staff with the help with substitute teachers, a new teacher mentor program, and then looking at workload time management. And the last pipeline was recognition, and that is year-long programming and morale boosters. I'm very proud of the work and the action plans that the task force put in place so that we have a robust system to recruit, retain, and recognize our colleagues. We're going to start with recruitment. Our first action plan was to create pipelines to grow new and high-quality teaching candidates. And the task force developed 3 actions. They were to implement a Center Grove future teacher signing ceremony, which we already put in place in May of 2023. We were looking at creating a career pathway for education, and discussions began this spring about a dual credit education program at Center Grove High School that would lead to a future teacher camp as we began showing our 3rd through 8th grade students about what it means to be a teacher and to build their skills for a career in education. We are continuing to develop partnerships with universities to provide classroom and instructional time for field experiences within our pre-K through 12th grade classrooms. And I'm so excited we have 3 pre-K field experiences that will be happening within our schools starting next year. Our second recruitment improvement strategy was to look at marketing a better understanding of what Center Grove offers new hires with school and community benefits. This work began in the fall of '22 with our communications department, developing a series of videos that showcase our teachers and marketing Center Grove roles to teacher candidates in local universities and programs. The third area of focus was on student teachers. Our wish is to grow our student teaching group and create a faster and streamlined process for those that we have served within the district. We started this process during the fall of 2022 with student teacher onboarding, welcoming, observing, and interviewing student teachers throughout their time in Center Grove. We are also encouraging student teachers to receive their sub-license for employment after student teaching hours are met so that we can get them back into our classrooms. Our next focus area was retention. A retention improvement that was brought to us from the task force was about substitute teachers and to better our recruitment and retention of subs, which in turn will be better for students and staff when teachers are out of the building. The actions for the improvement area began in October, and again, another shout out to Michelle Sheely. She's done a wonderful job, maintaining our sub base and putting together some great plans. Since then, in October, we have celebrated Sub Appreciation Day. We've increased communication with our subs with a monthly newsletter, and we've also have a very robust webpage to recruit. Right now, we have 147 active subs within Center Grove. The second retention improvement was to look at teacher onboarding process, which includes an instructional, you can go on to the next one for me real quick. Thank you. Was to include an instructional coach calendar and a mentoring program for year 1 and 2 teachers new to the profession or new to Center Grove. Our instructional coaches worked this year to align their coaching calendar to the CG New Teacher Academy monthly topics. We have started discussions about designing a Center Grove mentor program to support new teachers, not only in year 1, but also in year 2, with possible implementation during the 24-25 school year. Our hope is to continue the level of support that we have for teachers, but then to make the support more personal for new teachers to the field or new teachers to our corporation. And the third retention improvement area was to look at workload time management to gain more time in schedules for collaboration and planning. Our actions are to continue the HRS survey that our teaching and learning department give and analyze that data for level 1, which is the safe and collaborative atmosphere. This will invoke more meaningful conversations about district and school culture and how we operate as a professional learning community. We also are continuing discussions with our administrative team on how to lessen non-instructional duties during the day to allow more time for prep and team collaboration. I think the biggest thing is we want to thank our teaching and learning department who has given release time to work on new curriculum, and also the special education department who has guidelines for our SPED teachers to work on IEPs and progress monitoring. All of this is paid time for our teaching staff, and we'd like to improve maybe scheduling awareness when school activities interrupt valuable prep time. The fourth retention improvement area is special programming. Before we even discuss building our new health facility, we talked about health initiatives for staff. And this came up, and so as soon as we heard that a wellness center was being built, I can tell you there was lots of cheers and excitement for that for our staff. And that wellness center, we're hoping, will open in summer of 2024. And that will be to provide physical and mental supports for all of us. We will continue to monitor class sizes and look at that, and I know Dr. Taylor does a wonderful job of that to make sure that they are balanced throughout our school corporation. We are also going to be working with our AP Dean PLC at a transition model for students moving on to the next grade level or building. The special education team is looking at addition and better utilization of reset rooms throughout our schools so that students can take a break if they're feeling overwhelmed, and that is the connection with the student behavior. In recognition, it consisted of 2 areas of improvement. The first one is recognizing employees. Right now, our recognition as a district happens at the end of the year. We are very fortunate to work with some amazing educators and colleagues, and so we want to make sure that they are feeling valued throughout the school year. So beginning the 23-24 school year, we are going to expand our recognition programming by giving outstanding service awards twice a year. We're going to be continuing with our legacy awards. We're going to make some slight changes to our Teacher of the Year program, and then also share the good news to our community and our district about our teachers and their years of service to our students and to our community. We're also going to be adding a quarterly teacher and support staff spotlight from each building and department, and highlighting an employee who has provided an exceptional educational experience for students, staff, parents, or community members. The Teacher Recruitment, Retention, and Recognition Task Force also put together a great list of morale boosters for administrators to use throughout the year that will enhance what our administrators already do to thank our colleagues for the great work they do every day. So in conclusion, our school corporation, like we had mid-year, we need effective and diverse teachers, but the biggest thing is they need to feel supported by our community. We will continue to grow our own through our pipelines with our student teachers, our also seniors, and hopefully a dual credit program, education pipeline at the high school. And last but not least, we are doing everything we can to be proactive in retainment efforts and looking to better support our teachers every day in the classroom.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Any questions or comments? The signing day we did, Mr. Robinson and I were able to make it. It was really cool. Great idea and a great concept, and I hope that's something we do for the next 50 years.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Any other comments, questions? Okay.
No?
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr. Nelson.
you.
All right. The next item of business is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Counts. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And
Mr. Alexander, tonight, upon approval of the personnel report, we approved Dr. Brent Kinsey to replace Catherine Brennan as our Connected Learning Coordinator, and he's here this evening with his wife. Should you come on up, just introduce yourself real quick and share who you're with. He comes to us from Shenandoah Schools, so a little bit of a drive
Shenandoah
tonight.
Schools.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Brent Kinsey. Spent 27 years in Shenandoah School Corporation up in Henry County, and couldn't be more excited about joining the team at Center Grove. We have a wonderful reputation here in the state of Indiana, and I hope to only help that out. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
well, welcome.
This is my wife, Amber. Go ahead and stand there, Amber. You too. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. She's the brains of the family there. Yeah. But thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, next up, 7.1, 1028 preliminary determination hearing and resolutions for the CPF maintenance and miscellaneous funds. Dr. Arkanoff.
I'll go first. We've got our script right in there. So this evening is the hearing prior to selling bonds for financing of the CPF maintenance and miscellaneous. And I will turn it over to Mr. Alexander to run this hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Arkanoff. I now open this public hearing. I would like to turn it over to Dr. Taylor to present the project, the financing of the project, and actions we are taking this evening. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. This is something we typically have done in the past with our budget adoption. There's some new legislation that has changed the timeline on that. And we were concerned that if we didn't have these funds in time to adopt the budget, we might have to adopt a budget that was slightly different. So what this is a reoccurring bond that we sell each school year. We've done this since 2009, when there were some changes in the funding structure from the state. As you'll recall, when we approved the budget last year, we needed about $24 million in our operations fund to fund all of the projects and equipment that we need, and we get about $12 million in tax revenue. So this is one way that we supplement that loss of revenue, and we sell these bonds off and pay them back in over a 2-year period so that we can keep that interest rate as low as possible. And again, this is just a way to garner some more operating revenue when we're short from our other sources. It does include, and we've listed just some of the projects that are included, typically minor, smaller maintenance projects, and by smaller I mean entire roof systems, UV light systems, those types of things, but not typically construction of new facilities. And this is also where we fund our technology equipment. And so this will be a vital component as textbook rental changes come into play and we have to fund student one-to-one device costs. This will be another avenue in which we're able to do that. So all that's included in here, along with some miscellaneous things that if we can get done, we will. And I work with Dr. Long on this, and the two departments spend this money on the equipment and parts that they need to do the work that they do every day. I believe that's all. I've shared, all the details.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. This is the appropriate time for members of the public to comment on any of the projects and information presented this evening. Are there any members of the public? Mr. Poor? Yes. Can you come to the podium, please?
Hi, my name is Keith Poor. I'm a citizen here in Center Grove School District. And I came in here and I met briefly with Mr. Taylor to express what this bond or 1028 hearing was about. I saw it in the paper, in the legal notices, and that we were going to do this. He said here just in his statement that this would be paid off in 2 years. And in the paper, it says that this will be paid off January 1st of '28.
Yeah, we write that flexibility in just in case. We always go out 5 years.
But we're going to try to pay this off in 2 years?
Very much so.
Okay.
Yep. But just in
All right,
case-
so I'm going to get with Mr. Taylor to explain this a little more. But my main concern is our growing debt fund cap, or I mean, our amount that we have put in here. And it seems to me that reading down this list of things that we need to get done, I don't understand why some of it couldn't have been done as we are now in the midst of selling, put in the other bonds that we've sold already, and that work had been done, but I guess it needs to be explained to me or to the taxpayers and the parents and everybody else that has a concern on where the money goes here, that it gets spent wisely. So until I meet with Mr. Taylor a little more and get more familiarized with it, I guess I don't understand a lot about it, but there's just so many things that go along, like for the center, the wellness center, it was a $6 million bond sale. Well, the bids come in at $4 million. So what are we going to do with the other $2 million in change that's left? Well, I know that there was some buses that need to be bought and other things, but here again, we're running that bond fund, debt fund up. and we don't have the cash to pay for it. So that's just my comments right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poor. Are there any other members of the public who have any comments about the public hearing? All right, I now close this public hearing. Are there any board members who have any comments or questions? Okay. I need a motion.
It's the very bottom of it.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the preliminary determination for the CPF maintenance miscellaneous bond.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Thank you, Mrs. Counts. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Next order of business is accept bids for the robotics edition.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. This evening, I'm recommending that the board accept the bids for the robotics edition, and Dr. Long will provide you with some additional information.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, from Hunt, AECom and Hunt Construction is Jim Goley, Project Executive, and Chad Peters, the Senior Project Manager. If you recall, at the March 23rd, 2023 board meeting, we asked the board to reject the bids for the robotic edition because we felt we had found a way to reduce the cost of construction. We worked with the architect and AECom Hunt and were able to reduce the cost to construct the addition by $31,854. It's not as much as we were hoping, but we were still able to reduce the cost without changing the square footage or any of the scope of this project. On June 13th, we received one bid for the robotics edition from Dahlman Contracting Corporation. Back in March, we only received two bids, and Dahlman was the low bidder back in March as well. On June 14th, 2023, AECom Hunt held a D-scope meeting with them, and based on their review of the bid, the D-scope meeting and the budget, they're recommending we accept the bid from Dahlman Contracting Corporation in the amount of $477,404.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Any questions for Dr. Long?
I've got a couple questions, and I guess, Bill, whether it's you or whether it's Chad or Jim from Hunt. I know our reasoning in rejecting the first and going to the second is we thought there was a different way this could be constructed and in essence saving money, and we've done that. We've saved money, and I know we'd hope to save a little more, but I guess, should we proceed with this type of construction? Is it worth the $30,000 to proceed with this as opposed to the original plan?
That is a Chad question, sorry. Or,
Bill, I
It's
was
hard.
looking at that.
I appreciate that.
And Chad just kind of.
Chad was looking at me.
Because, and the reason I ask is because, we want to build things quality. We want to build things to last. And we were assured that this is quality, this would last, but is it worth the $30,000 to make this kind of change as opposed to going with the original scope?
The original scope and the way this design was, is everything is equal as far as the quality of the building. We didn't reduce quality whatsoever. Everything is just as well constructed as it would have been with the pre-engineered metal building. The bid market right now was really tough. We call contractors. I'm not so sure that it wasn't just, contractors were so busy, and this is a little bit of a smaller scope
It is.
of a project
Right.
compared to other projects that we have going. So we didn't have as much activity on this one as we had hoped. I don't know that that drove the cost or not. We felt like we could have saved more, but at this point, if you're concerned about quality and the timeline of this project, we're not losing anything by going to this design and what we have. And like I said, if you look at this building from the original design to this one, you would never know there was anything different. We just went with a little bit of a different framing design, how it was.
Same useful life, same,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and you realize that I only asked that question the same day that we amended your contract. And I believe this is an important addition. I just don't want to be, saving $30,000 and finding out that, well, we got $100,000 less of a building.
There was no corners cut whatsoever, absolutely not. It was, the life of this building and the usefulness of it is not been neglected whatsoever with this change in design. Pre-engineered metal buildings, when you change from a pre-engineered to a metal stud variety with metal trusses, pre-engineered, when you get so small, it drives the cost up. And so we try to navigate around that, but this building will be probably better insulated, you know, more soundproof for all of its purposes and a better project. In timeline, it will be a quicker project to construct for one thing, so it will be open sooner than it probably would have been at the other.
I mean, I'm not disappointed we're saving 30,000. I'm happy we're saving 30,000. I just want to make sure we're getting what we're getting value.
We didn't reduce anything that would have affected the value of this project or the longevity of it for the school.
Appreciate it.
It'll be ready to go when school starts?
This is more of a fall break.
He didn't say what year, Chad. He should have just said yes.
All right. Any other questions? Good question, Ron. All right, I need a motion, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the bid for the robotics addition.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Counts. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, next up is accept bids for the high school fax renovation. Dr. Arkanoff.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. This evening, I'm recommending that the board accept the bids for the high school fax renovation. And once again, Dr. Long will provide you with some information.
Thank you. If you recall, we are looking to build an additional fax kitchen at the high school to meet the course request demands for our students. And this is also a career pathway for some of our students to meet the graduation requirements. On June 13th of 2023, we received bids for the high school fax renovation project. We received bids for bid packet 1, general trades, bid packet 2, mechanical, plumbing, and fire protection, and bid packet 4, food service. On June 14th and 15th, AECOM Hunt held D-scope meetings with the low bidders, and based on their review of the bids and the D-scope meetings, they are recommending accepting the bids as presented below. Altogether, we received 8 bids for the 4 bid packets. We did not receive any bids for bid packet 3, electrical, and the estimated lower cost of that project, because of the estimated lower cost of that part of the project, we're in the processes of obtaining 3 quotes to do that work. Tonight, we're recommending the board accept the bids for the following bid packets. Bid packet 1 to Dahlman Contracting Corporation, name should sound familiar, in the amount of $241,668. Bid packet 2 to Griner Brothers in the amount of $443,800. And bid packet 4, CNT Design, in the amount of $406,822. The award of these 3 bid packages totals $1,092,290. We should be finished with the classroom so it can be used for the second semester of the upcoming school year.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Any questions for Dr. Long? Awesome. Can I get a motion?
Kind of feel like I should ask him a question because he always expects me to ask him
Could
something.
you ask Chad another one?
I have no questions on this one.
I do want to point out the 2 bids that we ask you to approve tonight, both academic oriented. So sometimes people think we get wrapped up in doing other things, but both of these were strictly academic, and I think it's important to point that out, that these projects are focused solely on academics.
I feel like I should have somehow formed that in the
A
form of a
question,
question.
okay.
Well, and the exciting part about this, I mean, obviously our fax program at the high school has grown, which is what's caused the need for this. So I'm excited to see that program is growing, and we have more interest from the students now wanting to do that. And I know we've talked about it ad nauseum, but, you know, not a big conflict with C9, but to help supplement that, because we only get so many spots at C9. So,
Good point.
awesome. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we accept the bids for the high school fax renovation.
Thank you, Mrs. Counts. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Next up is approved 2023-24 student handbook revisions. Dr. Arkanoff, or Dr. Nelson.
Well, I was just going to say, thank you. I'm recommending that the board do approve the 23-24 student handbook revisions, and Dr. Nelson's going to provide you with some details.
Yep, sure can. So again, we bring you tonight the 23-24 student handbooks with the addition of the Academy handbook as well. This is a new handbook that will follow the guidelines of the elementary, middle school, and high school. We had a committee this year that worked over the course of the year. It involved administrators, teachers, parents, and we put students in this year for student input. We also worked with the Johnson County Probation Office and updated the book based off of, or the handbooks based off of new legislative guidelines. So in front of you are the proposed policy changes, and I'm just going to kind of summarize as we go through them. For elementary, we have expanded the visitor and volunteer guidelines to include tutors and mentors, our Innovation Center volunteers, and also club sponsors. The language in the attendance policies and guidelines now matches K through 12, and that is with the definitions that include what lost instruction time is, unexcused and unacceptable absences, excused acceptable absences, students released from the clinic, and then the physical or mental incapacitation. Under electronic equipment policy, we have elementary students coming to school with smartwatches and they're getting lost, and so we have added that to electronics that should not come to school. And for discipline, we matched the middle school language for suspensions and also the expulsion procedures. This ensures that there's continuity with the same language when students transition from the elementary to the middle school. Starting July 1st, there will be a new House Enrolled Act 1483, and this goes with our bully policy, which requires Indiana schools to notify parents of a bullying victim within 3 business days after that incident has been reported, and to notify parents of an alleged bully perpetrator within 5 business days. We have added that new language to the handbook. Our technology policies and guidelines have been updated for charges for damaged or lost Chromebooks and iPads. And then the section all known as formerly textbook rental is now for lost or damaged curricular material. And this statement shares that students are responsible for all curricular materials if lost, stolen, or damaged. For the middle school, very, very, very proud of Mrs. Todd.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
on the elementary
Yeah.
before we move on? I notice here, one of the ads, it looks like, I'm trying to find a page number, it's 12. It deals with immigration appointment meetings, about documentation.
Yep.
That's an excused absence. This is just making sure they get documentation within a certain time period.
Yes, so we have, just with what we were talking about with our equity report, we've had a 500% increase in the number of kids who are coming in as ENL, and a lot of them are needing immigration paperwork. We did not have that in our handbook, and we've had lots of questions from parents and from our own staff about excusable or unexcusable. So we wanted to make sure that we had that language in there. All they have to do is bring in, they get an immigration sheet, show that, and it would be an excused absence for them.
And do we communicate that into any of our non-English speakers in different languages? Do we have that capability at this point?
We do have that capability. We could do it in different languages. I know our ENL staff is very good to let them know that, yes, just bring that in, and it would be, and the immigration, a lot of them have to go up to Chicago, and so there's just that form that they bring it in.
The office is opening soon.
Yeah, good, yes. So they don't have to make that long trip, and that's why with the absence, sometimes it was a couple days by the time they got up there, got through immigration and came back. Yeah.
But we do have a way to communicate it. and
Yes.
So they're getting in their own language. Because I'd hate to see somebody miss the 15-day because they didn't understand.
Right. Yeah, no, we'll make sure that happens, but yes, we can definitely do that.
Thank you. I didn't mean to be interrupted.
No, that was good to point out. Again, in middle school, Mrs. Todd, who is over at Middle School Central, and Mrs. Height, who is at Middle School North, worked very well together to align both handbooks. This included the attendance policies, their discipline, and school rules and regulations. Again, just like I said for the elementary handbook, the attendance policy is consistent across K through 12. so that there is common language for all of our parents and community members. School regulations for discipline was updated with electronic equipment policies. Backpacks will not be allowed in hallways during the school day this year, and phones and wireless headphones of any type are not allowed on in the classroom during the school day so that students can be engaged in their learning. The bully policy, just like elementary, was updated for the new legislation. And then new language was added for discipline levels at Middle School Central, and the expulsion procedure language now matches for both schools. We also did the same for middle school as we did for elementary, and that is that lost or damaged curricular material statement. And then our wonderful athletic directors worked together to update the athletic eligibility language in both handbooks. For the high school, not as many changes. Again, textbook rental was changed to our lost or damaged curricular policy. Same guidelines for health services for the elementary, that match the elementary and middle school. Also, attendance policy changes that match K through 8. And then the biggest one, I think, for high school is new language was added to electronic equipment to help avoid student distractions. And that language is cell phones and other electronic devices, including but not limited to earbuds, AirPods, and smartwatches, are not permitted during class time without the express permission of a classroom teacher. And that was part of the high school, and they brought teachers and the admin together for that part. Yep. And that's it.
I did appreciate in the middle school that you removed CD players, MP3 players, portable TVs, and DVDs.
Yes, little dated.
Has a VCR been removed already?
Yeah, you know what? They may be making a comeback, though. You never know.
And you did add AirPods.
We did, yes, we did.
Hey, Rob, all those things you have in your garage now are now vintage.
No, I got a kick out of reading that.
Yeah. Yeah, they are finally removed. Just wanted to make sure they were out of date before we took them out of there.
Trying to figure out what kid was wandering around with a DVD player.
You know what? Boom boxes are back in. I guess they could do that.
Well, it's probably still in there.
They probably, yes.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Nelson? All right, do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the 2023-24 student handbook revisions as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Counts. Do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
My daughter's gonna be really mad about that backpack thing, just saying.
But you did vote yes.
I know. I'll tell her. I'm saving your back, one day at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Announcements, just a reminder, we'll be reconvening the executive session following the conclusion of the work session, the Good for the Grove. Announcements, July 20th, we have an executive session at 6 p.m. and we have a regular board meeting at 7. Any board member comments this evening, Mrs. Counts?
No, I know that the Ed Foundation is, gosh, sorry, Jen, we didn't have our meeting yesterday, so give me a second. Come back to me, please.
Okay. Ms. Robinson, any comments this evening, sir?
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. First of all, Dr. Nelson, excellent job, including the subs and the monthly newsletter. That's just outstanding. Teaching 43 years, the subs do a lot for us. Two, the FACTS program is one of the rock stars of the high school. I'm glad we approved that. And I'm really, being on the Central 9 board, they do a great job, but we don't get all of our kids in culinary arts. So doing that. Three, Dr. Nelson, I love that you got MSC and MSN together on athletics and the two deans together. And then for me, Mr. Track and Field was given to us a couple weeks ago, which is outstanding. The young man won 5 state championships, and maybe we'll get to have Parker Doyle come and see us in July. The 4x400 relay thing was the last thing at the state track meet, and it was awesome when Center Grove boys won it. And the crowd at the baseball game, holy I mean, I got there and I sat in right field just to see our crowd, and it was massive. And congratulations to the both baseball team for being state runner-up. So thank you.
Mr. Daniels?
I can't top that, so I'm not going to try.
Ditto. Mrs. Counts?
So, the Education Foundation, they're working on fulfilling spring grants and also getting information for the scholarship recipients. I don't know if I'm missing anything else, Jen, you can smack me later. And I have to kind of tag along with Gary a little bit. I had the opportunity of kind of witnessing the robotics camp for the youngers, the littles. Mine's going into 5th grade, so she spent a week with them, and she's a bit of a klutz, so I think she got yelled at a few times. But she had the best time, and then parents got to go through and actually see it, so it was a great program, so I'm glad to see we're doing good things with that.
Fantastic. Dr. Arkanoff?
Thank you. Well, just a big thank you to everybody for your support at the IAPSS President's Installation. Special thank you to Hunt and your support of the program, and I really appreciate that, and I know the association does, and Stacy, all of your work in making that go, and then most importantly, the work of Tracy back there, and really, she did it all, and we just all showed up. So thank you so much. So, yeah.
You know, I had already forgotten about that as it happened.
It feels like it happened.
It feels like it
eons
happened
ago.
eons ago.
I know.
For those who do not know, Dr. Arkanoff was installed as the president of the Indiana Superintendents Association. It's a lot of letters in that acronym. I'm not even going to try and
You were
pronounce.
close enough.
Okay. This is a fantastic honor for Center Grove, for Dr. Arkanoff, in terms of his professional growth. This is a recognition by his peers on leading that group throughout the state. So,
Thank you.
on top of the other things, I know you'll do a great job with that, and I know on behalf of the board and the previous boards, we're all proud of you, and continue the good work there.
Well, thank you. I couldn't have done it without all of your support, so I appreciate that, and everyone else in this room, so thank you.
I don't want to step over that. I just want to say that I think people need to realize what a huge honor that was. Not only for Mr. Arkanoff to serve in that role, but walking into that room and seeing all the other superintendents there, seeing all of the other leaders there, seeing all the other people that, and then Mr. Arkanoff just, as usual, Dr. Arkanoff, as usual, knocked it out of the park with a speech. Telling everybody what Center Grove means to him, where he came from, where he's been, where he's going. It was impressive. I gave him a hard time. I said, I can't believe all these people came here to see him. But I can believe they did.
I found out
because-
later they all came for the cake.
But in reality, I feel remiss that we went all the way around the room without even mentioning and acknowledging it. It's really an honor. He did Center Grove proud.
Thank you. I sure didn't bring it up for that. I just wanted
No,
to thank you.
I know you didn't.
And for those who are there, I expect you to do the next board meeting in Latin.
There we go. Yes, thanks.
All right, anything else? Any other comments? All right, we're going to adjourn the regular board meeting.